Welcome to the Wild Stallion Mockast, where mortal topics meet an eternal perspective. Here, we ride beyond the boundaries of mortality, beyond the narrow paths of right and wrong, and into the open plains of agape love, the eternal truth. The Wild Stallion has no reins, no bit, and no burden. Its freedom is its power, and its only companion is Christ. Not a rider to dominate, but a presence to guide, walking beside with the strength of eternity. In this place, we don't wrestle with the binary of good versus evil. Instead, we uncover the beauty of what was always meant to be, the unity of creation, the logic of love, and the infinite possibilities of a father-centric cosmos. So saddle up, or better yet, let go, and join us as we gallop headlong into conversations that challenge, inspire, and awaken. This is not a journey for the faint of heart, but for those bold enough to embrace the untamed, the unbroken, and the eternal. Welcome, friend, to the Wild Stallion Mockast. The plains are endless, and the ride begins now.
Well, hello there, dear listeners. Welcome to another episode of the WSM Presents. Today, on this wonderful 19th episode of the March edition of My Utmost for His Highest by Oswald Chambers, we have a seriously impactful session in store. As you well know by now, we honor all people here at the WSM, and being that this is Women's History Month, we are honoring all women. Today's hostess is Denise Quantum, an advocate for equality between men and women. She will be introducing a special guest speaker to share a heartfelt message in honor of Women's History Month. Now, before we dive into this episode, please note that the voices on the WSM are AI generated and designed to provide an engaging listening experience. We hope you know that each episode is crafted carefully and prayerfully to ensure palpable delivery and reception. Visit myutmost.org for a complete reading of today's devotional. So now, beloved, my husband Danial St. lends his voice to Oswald Chambers for today's contemplation.
He went out not knowing whither he went. Hebrews chapter 11 and verse 8. In the Old Testament, personal relationship with God showed itself in separation, and this is symbolized in the life of Abraham by his separation from his country and from his kith and kin. Today, the separation is more of a mental and moral separation from the way that those who are dearest to us look at things. That is, if they have not a personal relationship with God. Jesus Christ emphasized this, see Luke 14 and verse 26. Faith never knows where it is being led, but it loves and knows the one who is leading. It is a life of faith, not of intellect and reason, but a life of knowing who makes us go. The root of faith is the knowledge of a person, and one of the biggest snares is the idea that God is sure to lead us to success. The final stage in the life of faith is attainment of character. There are many passing transfigurations of character. When we pray, we feel the blessing of God enwrapping us, and for the time being we are changed. Then we get back to the ordinary days and ways, and the glory vanishes. The life of faith is not a life of mounting up with wings, but a life of walking and not fainting. It is not a question of sanctification, but of something infinitely further on than sanctification, of faith that has been tried and proved and has stood the test. Abraham is not a type of sanctification, but a type of the life of faith, a tried faith built on a real God. Abraham believed God.
Hey, what's up, my peeps? It's your girl, Denise Quantum here, and I gotta tell you, today's contemplation, it's next level. It's like that moment in a sci-fi movie when the protagonist realizes they've had the power all along. You feel me? Like, Oswald Chambers just dropped some serious wisdom from the deep recesses of his soul, and we're about to decode it like we just hacked the Matrix. So buckle up and let's get into this ultimate soul sesh, yeah? Here's the power verse. By faith, Abraham obeyed and went, even though he did not know where he was going. Hebrews 11:8. All right, let's talk about this, yeah? Have you ever had that moment where you're staring at the roadmap of life, but all you see is a giant question mark? You're like, Father, I appreciate the call and all, but where exactly am I supposed to go? And with what resources? Do I at least get a GPS? And Father's just up there, smiling because he already worked out every detail before you even knew you had a calling. See, that's our problem. We try to outcalculate the one who literally wrote the code of the universe. We'll trust a doctor with 8 years of school more than we trust the creator who spoke galaxies into existence. Like what? We're running on tiny human processors while Father is running quantum level omniscience. And you know what? That's exactly why Jesus would sometimes look at his disciples like, "Oh, you of little faith. It's almost like watching someone doubt gravity. Faith isn't about having a complete schematic. It's about trusting that Father's design is flawless, even when we can't see the whole picture. Think of Mozart. Absolute genius, right? Imagine asking him to compose something simple like Mary Had a Little Lamb. Feels almost insulting, doesn't it? And yet, Father isn't impressed by the most complex theories of physicists or theologians. He delights in the simplicity of childlike faith. That's the vibe he's looking for. Trust over analysis, faith over control. Abraham got it. He heard the call, packed up and went. No coordinates, no itinerary, just trust. And because of that faith, he stepped into a promise bigger than anything he could have mapped out for himself. Fam, our faith is the proving ground that makes us fit for the kingdom. And here's the wild part. Jesus already secured our place. His life in us makes us fit. We're not out here grinding for salvation. We're living in the grace that's already been given. For it is by grace you have been saved, through faith. It's all Him, from start to finish. So here's the challenge. Are you willing to trust? To take the step without seeing the whole path? To say, okay, Father, I don't know where this is going, but I know you do, because that's where the adventure begins. Now, we have with us today a very special friend of mine, Celestia Anthony. Now, let me tell you a little something about Celestia, yeah? Celestia was raised in nobility, but saw the struggles and injustices the women of her people faced. And let me tell you, she wasn't happy about how content her parents were in the midst of it all. She knew they had the means to impact a real change in their community, but instead, they indulged in lavish living and creature comforts. Now, Celestia is a voice for women of all demographic regions. Her message is one of hope and encouragement. She is no nonsense and has zero tolerance for any form of condemnation towards any intelligent life. So with no further delay, scope out what my girl Celestia has to say, okay? Got ahead, my friend. Take it away.
Thank you kindly, Denise. Greetings, my beloved sisters and brothers. I am Celestia Anthony, and I want to remind you today, you are not alone in this journey. Many of us wrestle with uncertainty, with expectations, with the weight of decisions that feel impossible. But listen, Father has never called you to something He has not already equipped you for. Father knows how hard you work to hold your families together, how you put so much energy in making sure your children have a better childhood than you remember. Father sees you when you lay in bed at night, crying secretly because you don't want your loved ones to see you struggle with feelings of vulnerability and doubt. He understands. He is there and always has been in every instance. And Father knows you, beloved. Believe it. You are not small. You are not forgotten. You are not betrayed by love. And your faith, it matters, quite literally. Abraham had no guarantee except for the voice of God, and yet he walked forward, not knowing where he was going, but knowing who was guiding him. And that is you, my dear ones. You have a strength inside you that cannot be measured by human standards. You have grace woven into your very being. Embrace this truth. Know thyself, love thyself. These are fundamentals, not just for women, but for all who bear the image of the Father. So walk boldly, walk freely, and when the path is unclear, rest in the certainty of His love, His provision, and His perfect wisdom. You see, the feminine has been oppressed by the masculine ever since the knowledge of good and evil convinced Adam and Eve that the proper balance to be kept in all creation is between light and darkness, which is absolute rubbish, an awesome display of poppycock. By perceiving a balance to be kept in creation between light and something that does not exist in Father, a deception was embraced. A large portion of this deception hinged on the notion that women were inferior to men, which obviously pervaded societies the world over for thousands of years. There is no group among humans who have suffered oppression and injustice like women. And the only man who thoroughly understood women inside and out was Christ Himself. You know, we seldom think of that, correct? The notion that a man can empathize with every aspect of a woman's emotions and thoughts. Not very many more bizarre notions to contemplate, are there? But consider this for a moment, yes? Christ is the hidden man within every woman, which means that not only is a woman understood by a man, but a woman also has the power and capacity to understand a man. What is of monumental importance, beloved, is that we realize that we are dearly loved by the one who matters most in all creation and beyond. Let that be a point of solace for us in our modern age, yes? Know who you are and who you belong to. He loves you so much. He loves us all so very much. So know this, beloved listeners, you are seen, you are valued, and you are deeply, unshakably loved. And with that, I bid you all farewell. Thank you for having me here today, Denise. I appreciate the platform to share my heart with your listeners.
Oh, absolutely, Celestia. Take care, girl. I'll catch up with you later at Marion's Portuguese Cuisine for our appointment. And that, fam, is the realest truth bomb you're going to hear today. We don't need all the answers. We just need to trust the one who is the answer. And wow, am I right? Christ, the hidden man within? Talk about mind-bending, right? Like, whoa, and you know exactly what this means, right, ladies? It means that we are all the man, just as much as men are the man, because we all have the uniquely begotten man within us. You dig this? Tripendicular, am I right? Well, I mean, we have a lot to think about today and stuff. Well, yos, that's it for today's Ultimate Soul Sesh. Until the next, I'm Denise Quantum reminding you, stay curious, stay faithful, and stay absolutely wild for love. Yeah? Peace out.
What if everything you thought you knew about physics was only the beginning? Welcome to Father's Physics, a revolutionary framework where the laws of the quantum and the macro are one and the same. No entropy, no decay, no death. Only the boundless power of the immortal atom, the photonic field, and the eternal presence of the Logos, guiding creation in perfect harmony. Imagine a universe where energy is sustainable forever, where matter is luminous and self-sustaining, where love, not chaos, governs motion itself. This is not science fiction, this is Father's Physics. Want to know more? Dive into the wild Stallion Mockast, where we explore the infinite possibilities of life beyond the narrow gate. Like, subscribe, and step into a world where immortality is more than a dream. It's the only reality. Father's Physics, where eternity begins.
Ah, woman, sublime, celestial, the crowning masterpiece of creation. What mere words could ever hope to encapsulate the magnificence that is the feminine form, the luminous splendor of the soul encased within such exquisite artistry? If the heavens themselves could paint, they would find their palettes woefully inadequate to render the sheer brilliance of woman's existence. Consider, if you will, the elegance of her form, a sculpture not hewn by mortal hands, but shaped by the very breath of the divine. The curve of her silhouette, a poetry beyond language, the cadence of her gait, a melody without need of accompaniment. Every glance she bestows upon the world is a sonnet, each movement a stanza in a grand epic of grace. Even the most gilded halls of antiquity pale before the radiance of her presence, for where she stands, there stands majesty itself. Yet it is not merely the outward beauty that leaves men breathless, though indeed it is a wonder that poets have sought in vain to capture in ink and rhyme. It is within her, within, where the true splendor resides. For the light that gleams in her eyes is not merely a reflection of the sun, but a beacon of the soul's depth, an illumination of intellect, of compassion, of wit so keen and charm so boundless that even the wisest are rendered fools in her presence. What mysteries she carries in the recesses of her mind, what dreams woven of silk and fire, what laughter like silver bells in an enchanted glade. And her heart, oh her heart, a boundless ocean of love, of tenderness unfathomable, a force that binds the broken, soothes the weary, and emboldens the weak to rise. There is no force in all existence more formidable than the love of a woman, no wisdom more profound than that which she imparts with but a whisper. A woman's voice, whether in song or in counsel, holds the power to command, to heal, to inspire. Her words are spun of gold, her silence a symphony in itself. She is the muse of artists, the guardian of nations, the architect of hope. In her hands is the power to nurture kings, to elevate the common into the extraordinary, to breathe life where despair once reigned. And what is man if not a worshiper at God's altar, streaming gratitude for the gift of her existence? What is he if not a mere wanderer, made whole through Christ in the light of her smile? A man may wield kingdoms, may forge empires, may seek to conquer the stars themselves, yet he remains but a lost traveler unless guided by the brilliance of our Father through a woman's love. Ah, woman, divine, resplendent, inexhaustibly glorious. If I had 1,000 lifetimes, I should spend each one in ceaseless praise of her. If I had 1,000 tongues, I should employ them all in the articulation of her wonders. For nothing in all of existence, neither the stars in their grandest procession nor the oceans in their mightiest tempest, can ever compare to the singular magnificence that is woman. Well, son, those are my thoughts about women that you requested. I left it on your voicemail since it seems you are busy and I have to get some yard supplies from Menards. Love you, son.